Hey guys, this is Luigi. Yes, you guys must know of me. The guy who talks a lot and always has nice food to eat in class. Anyways, this is my project about the Republic by Plato, and I decided to read about the first 20 pages of the first book, and it was a bit interesting. Yeah, I liked it a lot, but I'll get more so into it. I had to actually read the first 20 pages a bunch of times. I had to reread it and reread it. I want to say I read them about 7 times. And only because, not because I didn't understand the words, but it's just because of the way the style of writing was. It was just, I guess I was just not used to it, if you want to call it that. But about after the 5th time, I want to say, reading it, the main points were all completely clear to me. What I was looking for, how I needed to look for it, what I needed to make my analysis on. And the main conversation within these pages that I read was about justice, and more so, specifically, what is justice? And in this book, there's like a little storyline that goes until they all meet up in the circle with Socrates and a group of people, a gentleman. And he goes on talking about how he likes to have conversations with people and etc. So that's just kind of like a little intro to what actually happens. But when they start getting down to the nitty gritty, Socrates begins the conversation by asking one of his elderly friends, Cephalus, or like I like to call him Syphilis because his name is spelled kind of like that, about what justice is. And his friend basically replies with this normal answer, nothing crazy, nothing over the top. Justice to him is basically being honest and paying back debts that you owe to people, giving things to people that are theirs, returning stuff, etc., holding something for them. Kind of like a normal kind of, interpretation of what justice is. But Socrates, being Socrates, shoots it down, bang. And he gives this strong counter argument about giving a crazy person a weapon that was his in the first place, but now he's crazy. So it kind of just goes back and forth. It's a counter argument. I mean, like, is it just to keep something that's not yours? Or, would you be doing an injustice by giving something to someone that could harm other people because that person's not in their right mind? And essentially, this is what kind of happens throughout the entire 20 pages. And at this point, after Socrates shot down his definition, Cephalus, decides to kind of leave. He wanted to go watch something or do something. I mean, I don't blame him. Who would want to be having their definition being picked apart by a person who is honestly probably a lot smarter than them or him? And I think he hands the conversation over, boom, he relays it to his heir. His name is one of those names that I can't even pronounce, but his heir, he continues the conversation with his heir, and, what do you know? His heir gives a definition of what he thinks justice is. It really doesn't make a difference because, in reality, Socrates just shoots it down again. I mean, this guy is a sniper rifle, man. He just keeps shooting people down. And it kind of continues. This is what basically these first 20 pages that I read were about. This man is just an assassin. He just keeps knocking these people down like it's nothing. He counter-argument versus counter-argument versus counter-argument. And this just happened, like I said, for the first 20 pages or so. And, honestly, if a person like Socrates with his level of intelligence was in this today's society, I don't know how people would react to him. Because quite frankly, he was smarter than everybody else at his time. And that's what it seems like. He's giving these counter arguments Not so much, I mean, in my opinion, not so much because he just wants to have a conversation, but I feel like he is belittling these people because he's so much smarter than them, and he knows that he can work around and give them a hard time with the what he says and how he says it, or his attention to detail. But if someone like this were in our class today, I don't know how some of us could be able to take it. How would you feel if a person who could just tear apart your argument with the analysis of what you say, like the couple of words that you say, and he tears them apart and picks a hole? I don't think too many people in this class would like that too much. And again, I read it a bunch of times, and that's when I understood everything. But like I said, it was a little bit difficult for me to read. And but I've read more complicated works than this. It's just like I said, it was just the way it was written that kind of got me off on that wrong start of having to read and reread it over and over again. And honestly, I wouldn't be able to pick a side if I had to, because I didn't read enough to pick a side. I mean, like I said, I only read 20 pages. But I definitely don't want to be against Socrates because, anybody who, brings up a conversation or whatever it is, he just shoots it down, man. He's a sniper rifle. Bang, bang. Boom. Headshot. And, but at the same time, it's mostly because of the fact that I don't per se have a completed sentence, a completed thought on what justice is. I don't have a collective thought of what justice is. I feel like justice could be many things, so therefore I think it would be like an invalid argument for me to begin with him if I could speak to him, because I just don't have anything that I really could really say to him that would fall into the categories of what these gentlemen were talking about. They had a precise view of what they thought it was, and I have like a very general that could keep looping into different things of what justice could be. And again, I like these pages. They were good. They were interesting for me, but they were becoming repetitive. And I would say if I had to read this entire books, like all the books in this, I don't know if I would like it. Because it's just that first part was just so repetitive. And honestly, I felt like I was like, well, this guy just keeps chopping people down. This guy's boom, headshot. And the next guy comes up and it's boom, headshot. So it's a little bit difficult, I guess. Not difficult, but just redundant. And it kind of like displeased me because he just kept doing it over and over again. But I would recommend this to somebody who, maybe someone wanted to study law or something, or someone who likes to argue a lot.